So why don't you have deal breaker behaviors? Why didn't I when I was in toxic relationships? I don't know. I mean, it didn't even occur to me that those were a thing. But I guess, when I was a teenager, before I got into toxic relationships, I may have thought at one point, like, I will never be with anybody that cheats on me, or I will never be with someone that hits me, which I never was, luckily. But I was with somebody that cheated on me, a couple of people actually. And, I guess I just believed in change. I believed people could change and get better. And I think that's normal for people that have been in toxic relationships. So I'm Lori, if you haven't been here before. I was an educator for many years. I have a master's in school counseling, and I have my coaching certification. And so now I help women, or really anybody that has been in a toxic relationship. They felt stuck. They don't know how to get out. They feel like the time has come to end this, but there's so much guilt and shame and worries about the kids and things like that. And so, I help them get unstuck so they can finally find the peace and joy that they've been looking for. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around. Today we're going to be talking about deal breakers and what to do if somebody breaks your deal breakers. So what are deal breakers? Deal breakers are those toxic behaviors that you will never allow in your life. You draw a hard line. So if you're somebody that struggles with boundaries, that might be difficult for you to think about, but they can be things like you would never allow somebody to hit your child, right? So that would be a deal breaker if anybody ever hit your child. Another example might be if somebody took out a credit card in your name and ran up a lot of debt. That might be a deal breaker for you. So you can have deal breakers with friends, family members, coworkers, other people in your life too. It doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship, but today we're going to be talking about deal breakers in romantic relationships. So some more examples of deal breakers might be breaking a law, cheating, like I mentioned before, addiction or substance use, pornography, coming home with an STD. And then in the beginning of your relationship, there's a few that you might think about before you start dating this person. Hopefully you will talk about religious beliefs, because you may have deal breakers there, differences on raising children, and then some other things that you might find out while you're dating is like somebody stealing from you or lying about really important matters. Then as you get married, these are some that might bother you, might be deal breakers. Somebody that is financially abusing you, like they are overspending and they spend way too much on things that, get your debt built up really fast, or they keep tight control of the money and they dole out to you money, even if it's your own paycheck. And then also scrutinizing your spending. This is something that I didn't think of as financial abuse, but if they pull out the receipt from the grocery shopping and they say, why did you spend money on milk? Why did you buy this many apples? That is a type of financial abuse. It's one thing if you sit down together and you talk about a budget and you say, you know, we're only going to spend this much. That's an agreement that you come to together. But when you are spending money on things that you know the kids need for their lunches, or things to make meals throughout the week, and somebody is scrutinizing every bit of that, that makes it really difficult for you to plan meals and do the things you need to do to provide for your family. What is my dog doing? So other examples, of course, physical abuse, sexual abuse. You wouldn't put up with that. Hopefully, I know there are some people that maybe you have struggled with that type of thing in your family of origin. And so to you, even though you don't like it or don't believe in it, you have a hard time leaving because you've seen this all your life. You think it's normal for relationships. Name calling, criticism, making you feel disrespected or devalued. These are just examples. Some of them might not fit for you, and there may be some that I haven't thought of or put in my video that you come across or you think of. In fact, would you write in the comments some of your deal breakers? Because I know everybody has different kinds of deal breakers. I was watching, what's it called? I can't think. Oh, Love is Blind. Sorry, I couldn't think of it. Love is Blind, and there was a couple on there in the 5th season, and he didn't have debt, but he had a low credit score, and he didn't tell her about it until the very end. And for her, that was a deal breaker. So may not have been a deal breaker for me or somebody else, but it was a deal breaker for her, and that's okay. So also neglect of your physical and emotional needs, neglect of their own hygiene. Like that just kind of grosses me out if they're not taking care of their teeth, for example, or they don't shower as much as you believe people should shower. Yelling or raging at you. And, you know, I know I've heard people say in their family, like they have a big Greek family or something, and there's a lot of yelling that goes on, but I didn't have that in my family. And so yelling at me it hasn't been a deal breaker, but it will be from now on. Rudeness to you or others. Like, have you ever been out at a restaurant or a place of business and your partner says something so rude to somebody else, something that you would never dream of saying to somebody? And that may be a deal breaker to you if they have behavior like that. Intimidation, refusing to discuss problems or come up with a solution. That's a really big one. Isolating you from your friends and family. That is very difficult to deal with. It might be a deal breaker for you. Not allowing you to work or sabotaging your job by, calling you a bunch of times, texting you all day, showing up unannounced, making you late for some reason. Those can all be deal breakers. Refusing to change negative behaviors or get help. That could be a deal breaker. So, like I said, comment some of your deal breakers below. Let's all share with each other. Hold on, my dog's barking. Dolly, no. She wants to go outside, but she's already been outside. Okay, so you may be wondering, should I share these deal breakers with my partner? So should I tell him that cheating's not okay with me and I'm, not going to put up with that anymore? Yeah, you probably should. especially if it's a behavior that you've allowed in the past. And now that you've grown and you've changed, you don't want to allow that behavior anymore. You need to communicate that to your partner, because they won't understand that there's a change unless you communicate that to them. Dolly, no. So there are some cases where you don't want to communicate your deal breakers to your partner, because if you are dealing with a toxic partner, somebody that will take that information and use it against you, then it probably is not a really good idea. It may not even be safe to tell them your deal breakers. So you know your partner best. You can decide if that is something that you think is healthy for you or not healthy. You know, some narcissistic people will take that information and they will intentionally do whatever the thing is because they want to hurt you, or they want to test you and see if you're actually going to follow through with what you say you're going to follow through with. So, you know, do it, you know, at your own discretion. So, when you are coming up with your deal breakers, you're going to need an out. So what are you going to do if this person breaks your deal breakers? So I suggest you write down your deal breakers. And there are some that, like, absolutely you will not put up with. That means goodbye the day that you hear about it. And then there will be some that you don't want your partner to do and you will not put up with, but maybe if they did it once and they really worked to improve, you might be able to forgive, for example. So let's say that they went and spent a lot of money on a new watch. Well, that might be something that is not a deal breaker today, but if it were to happen again, it would be a big deal breaker to you because they didn't discuss it with you. It wasn't something you agreed on together. So write down your deal breakers that are like absolute deal breakers, like we're leaving today. And then write down the things that, you know, you don't want to happen, but you will forgive if they show the right amount of remorse and they want to actually get help. So, like, for example, cheating, you know, you might say, I am never going to allow somebody to cheat on me. But let's say they made a mistake and they're so remorseful and they say they're going to get help, and they actually call a therapist and they go to the appointment. That's something that, you know, it's up to you. You may decide that you can deal with. So, just for example, so ask yourself these questions. Will you leave the home, or will your partner need to leave the home? Who will you go to for support? Because you are going to need support if this person that you love, that you've been counting on, that helps you financially, you know, they meet your physical and emotional needs some of the time, maybe not all of the time, but some of the time, you're going to need support to help you get through that, because that's going to be really difficult. How will you handle finances? Do you have money put aside? If not, that's something that you can start working on before any of these deal breaker behaviors happen. So just put some money in your name in an account, it could be a savings account somewhere, and start putting some money away for you. Are you aware of all the accounts that you and your partner share? Do you know the balances of your retirement accounts, your investment accounts, your savings accounts? Can you access the balances of all of these accounts? Because if for some reason you needed to get a divorce and speak with an attorney, you're going to need all this information. And then what about the kids? What arrangements do you need to make for the kids? Where there'll be temporary visitation? Will there be temporary child support? Rides to and from school, for example, holiday plans, summer breaks. What will you do about all those things? So, of course, this sounds really morbid. It sounds like we're planning for our relationship to end. But if you have a toxic relationship, or if you feel like there are some things that are going on that you're not sure your relationship can be fixed or not, you want it to be fixed, but there's really some difficult things going on, then that's when you need to think about all these things. There are some people that have really safe partners and they don't feel like they would ever break their deal breaker behaviors. So, things can always happen, but when you need to put these things into place. And if you have any doubts about your partner and their behavior, like maybe they're drinking too much alcohol, maybe they're using substances, maybe they've cheated in the past and you're worried that it could happen again. These are times where you need to ask yourself these questions and put all these into place. And here's the thing, people that grew up in dysfunctional families, they learn that their job is to stuff down their emotions. And we give in to whatever other people, need or want, because maybe we grew up with a parent that way, or something could have happened in our past that made us fear abandonment or, trauma in general. You fear trauma because it's happened in the past and you know that some of these bad things could happen again. So you stuff down your emotions, and we think that everything is workable. Like I talked a little bit about cheating in the beginning of this video. I talked about my partners in the past. I had 2 that I was in a serious relationship with, and they both cheated on me, and I forgave both of them. No, actually, I didn't forgive one of them, but he left me, and I probably would have forgiven him because we had kids and I wanted to keep our family together. So, it's probably something I shouldn't have forgiven. But I just, like I said in the beginning, I thought that people could change. And I still believe that to a degree. But some people don't want to change. Some people won't do what it takes to change. And so in that case, you have to let those people go. And it can be really difficult. If you love that person, it can be so hard to let them go. But sometimes you just have to know that you have to choose yourself first. And you have to know that this person is not choosing you. This person is choosing themselves. So you have to choose you. So there aren't a lot of deal breakers sometimes for people that grew up in a toxic household, but think about how you really want to live. Do you want to continue living this way where you're being taken advantage of and you're being disrespected? I'm sure you don't. So what would be your ideal dream life? Think about that. And then put those deal breakers into place. Write them down so you can remember. Put them on your phone or whatever it is you need to do. And look at them often. And if something happens in your relationship, go back and look at those deal breaker behaviors. Did this break something that you said you would never allow? And, be true to yourself. Follow through with that plan that you had laid out. Leave if you need to, because chances are if they did it one time, they're going to do it again. So like I said, you're going to need some kind of support. Choose a therapist, choose a coach like me. I offer one-on-one coaching. I also have a group program that you can join. It's called Becoming Conscious. And I'll put details for both my one-on-one coaching and my group program below. I also have a free Facebook group that you can join. It's called Rebooting Health for Empaths. And I'll probably change that soon because it doesn't quite fit what I'm coaching on now. But for now, that's what it is. And, you could also get help from a friend or family member that feels supportive to you. But you're going to need somebody to help you through those tough times, especially when that person comes back to you and they're saying, please come back to me. You've ruined my life. I can't live without you. And look what you're doing to our family. Because that gets really hard. But if you have support and you have people that are telling you you did the right thing, you left at the right time, it can be so much easier. And you can find that life that's drama-free, peaceful, and joyful. So thanks so much for watching. Be sure to like and share this video and subscribe so you can see more content like this. Thanks for joining. Bye.